Yeah, so welcome back. Please continue your conversation. Sanjini, you wanted to say something. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, if P3 is done, I mean, some awareness has come, but again, we are facing that fear. Uh, for example, the fire equals to fear. So, if we are experiencing that, and if already that awareness has come, when we are seeing with the lens of awareness, that fear will go immediately. Right. It may come again and again, and it will go again and again. So is that
कल्याण
so?
सर, मुझे यहाँ पे एक चीज थोड़ा
Yeah,
ये
yeah, please.
क्वेश्चन में ही ये संजीनी ने पूछा कि सम अवेयरनेस उन्होंने टर्म यूज किया, तो अवेयरनेस पूरा ही होता है या सम अवेयरनेस इज द राइट टर्म, या कैसे है? मतलब अवेयरनेस आएगा तो पूरा ही आएगा या थोड़ा आएगा या कैसे?
नहीं, अवेयरनेस पूरा ही आएगा। थोड़ा थोड़ा में अवेयरनेस वो भ्रम है अवेयरनेस का, वही कोरिलेटेड पॉइंट है संजीनी, आई थिंक, राइट?
Yeah,
यस
yeah.
यस
ये बिना सेंसेशन को हमें समझना पड़ेगा। मतलब अच्छा मैं अवेयर नहीं हूं, ऐसा सोच के दुखी हो जाने से समझ नहीं पाएंगे हम।
हाँ.
तो अवेयरनेस अगर नहीं आया तो नहीं आया, अगर आ गया तो फिर जाएगा नहीं। तो वो कभी भी हम कंक्लूड नहीं कर पाएंगे जो अवेयरनेस आया है या नहीं आया है। कोई अगर बोल रहा है मैं अवेयर हूं, तो फिर वो अवेयर है ही नहीं। ये समझ पा रहे हैं? अवेयरनेस और इंक्विजिशन दोनों सिनोनिम है। कोई अगर अवेयर है तो हर समय वो शक में रहेगा जो वो क्या अवेयर है भी। अगर वो कंक्लूजन में आ गया जो मैं अवेयर हूं, तो वो कतई अवेयर नहीं है। ये समझ पा रहे हैं क्या प्राजक्ता?
यस सर, यस।
हाँ हाँ मनीष।
मेरा सवाल is to do with the physiological perception. So
physiological perception cannot happen. Physiological sensation happens.
Sensation, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, physiological sensation. So is it always good and bad, as in pleasant, unpleasant, or some such thing? Because fire will tell me it's danger, so obviously means bad or unsafe or whatever that may be. And a pleasant, so it's always experienced through senses, physical action and physiological का थोड़ा connection बताएंगे, because then
physical जो senses P1 है, P1 में sense सारे sensory organs का जो नाम हम लोग लेते रहते हैं ना, eyes, ears, nose, tongue and skin, ये सारा senses है। यहाँ से कहानी शुरू होती है। फिर ये अगला पड़ाव में आता है आपका अंदरूनी एरिया, बॉडी के अंदरूनी केमिकल।
So any physical action creates some kind of chemical changes in the body.
Yes.
Now that which creates a sensation. Now is that sensation always pleasant or unpleasant?
Yes.
Which will then make me decide it's
because that will indicate whether I would continue with the sensory experience or not. जो सेंसेस के तरफ से आया है उसके साथ मैं चलता रहूं या रोक दूं अपने आप को, ये इंडिकेशन के लिए है प्लेजर एंड पेन।
Correct. So when a child is molested, basically the child is at a physiological level experiencing a sensation of unpleasantness, right?
Yes.
Is experiencing something which is not pleasant, which is not nice.
Yes.
And then at a deep psychological level, when a child perhaps does not have, obviously like an adult, an ability to whatever, maybe then creating a perception that it's
that is largely interpretation based by the immediate caregivers. You know, suppose the child falls down in a playground. and get raped in another scenario.
Hmm.
Physically, there is no difference. Try and understand depth of it. Physically, there is no difference. There was no fault as such for the child in this accident. This is a physical accident. The rape is a physical accident for the child.
No, so that's where my question is. Could it
Yes.
be that the sensation experienced by the child in
Yes.
case of a rape situation is different from the sensation experienced by the child when the child falls down? Could there be a different physiological process going on within the child?
Intensity, mathematical difference will be there. But the
Yeah.
psychological differences will be conditioned difference. You know, when the interpretation will be there, tera izzat chala gaya.
But at a psychological level,
Yeah.
isn't there something which is innate, which tells the child that this was intentionally done by somebody?
Yes.
That sense, like, that sense coming in that
Yes.
this was somebody doing it
Yes.
versus something happening by accident.
Yes. Yes. That will be understood.
So there is a
That will be understood
there is-
that this is unnatural. This doesn't happen. My dad doesn't touch me like this, but this
So there
gentleman
is a
has touched
difference
me.
in the psychological perception per se also.
Perceptory difference will be there. So we are not talking about the perception here. We are talking about the sensation when the child will start feeling bad about it from the stigma that is conditioned.
So let's
That I
remove
must
stigma.
hate that person. The
Even
individual.
if stigma, sir, I'm saying let's not look at what the external caregivers, whatever. I'm just looking at that child in this P1, P2, P3 situation,
Yes.
where I'm seeing there would be a difference in the physiological sensation when a child experiences rape and a child experiences fall.
Yes.
Okay, or
Yes.
pain associated with fall. There'll be two
Yes.
different physiological sensations.
Yes. Intensity wise.
Intensity wise, that's
Yes.
all. There is only difference in intensity. That's it for the child.
Yes.
Right? If you remove the condition.
Yes.
Then when you come to the psychological perception coming from that sensation, would there be a difference for the child?
There will not be unless conditioned.
No, but there is now, we said that there is a difference between, the child realizing that somebody intentionally did something. It could
Yeah.
be,
So
it
twice the child falls, suppose. Two times the child falls in the playground. Both experiences are unique in nature. Both will bring different set of perceptions about the nature of the ground or the kind of activity she was doing, all those things. So it is always unique perception for every sensation that occurs moment to moment. There's no difference in the framework. There will be uniqueness observed for each moment, like the rape experience also, unless conditioned.
And there also, if the child, say, was pushed by somebody in the playground.
Yes. That will be also understood. Acha, like this also it happens.
So there, if the child has been pushed by somebody, between that and I'm just wondering, between that and say a rape, there may not be much difference in his mind because somebody did something which...
This is something unnatural happening. Normally people don't push, but this gentleman pushed me. Right. So that identification will be there. That awareness will be there that this gentleman last time pushed. That will not bring, unless we start hating that person, I'll not bring a conclusion that next time also he will push me.
Yeah, so unless like our caregiver tells that, see, stay away from that child or
bad.
person
He is
who
bad.
did that.
Yes.
I'm not able to relate with this at all, Kanyan sir, because we know
Yeah.
that there is childhood trauma. There is,
Yes.
and that has nothing to do with conditioning. Even an infant,
Yes.
you know, when there is certain energies in the environment that are of unhappiness or depression, or you know, on what, you know, a child may not remember, but there is we know at the subconscious level, whole lot of trauma that exists. So where is
Yes.
that coming from in this
Yes.
context?
So the
I'm not able-
intensity of the physical experience will always structurally drift the individual. If the intensity is more, then the individual will always create a scenario to avoid that. That's not a trauma as such, but it's an awareness-based response of the individual. The moment a sensation comes out of it in terms of hatred, fear, anger, then the traumatization will be increased and it will be recurrent. It will be repeating. That's what we are going to understand in the conflicting order.
But it is what I'm trying to understand from what Manisha is saying, that sometimes we hear of such cases that the child was, say, abused in like, you know, a person was abused in the childhood, and that person never shared with anybody, and it had an impact on the personality.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
no?
something else.
Okay,
I'm saying
please
that
help.
even if for a very small child, like an infant or a very small child,
Yeah.
if there is something unpleasant in the environment, which has nothing to do with child's action, here everything is, related to physical action. It may not even, child has no role to play in it. Parents are fighting. There's a violent fight at home, and there's unhappiness, and there's, all of that. Child, we know this from experiences, is going to have that trauma in the subconscious, which may not, the child, as the person grows up, may not be aware of. So environmental factors at some level, at maybe at different sensations, not necessarily emitting from physical action, is being experienced by an individual, is what I am understanding.
Yes.
And my understanding.
Depression by birth. Have you heard about this?
Yeah.
Depression by birth. So what you are terming is a kind of similar situation, that a person who is after birth experiencing depression, so that has got an impact of the parents to begin with. If in mother's womb,
environmental action, environmental
yes.
Yeah.
So if the mother is tortured, suppose mother is tortured, and mother has generated anger in her during the pregnancy, then the child also is going to experience that anger.
Correct. So right? State of mother's mind goes to the child. Absolutely. We know that. Absolutely. Also, say in the environment, if in a conflict zone, when infants are born, they're seeing conflict all around and everything, they are impacted by that.
Yeah.
So it's
Ayushi. Okay. Yeah.
So conflict in the environment also raises certain sensations within an individual, no?
Yes. Undeniable. So, genetic attribution is undeniable. Genetic attribution and environment attribution and the lifestyle. So here in the child case, the lifestyle attribution is not initiated as such, but the genetic and environment influence is undeniable.
Which will then create certain sensations, physiological sensations within that child.
Yes, there is a knack of creating sensation that can be transferred from the genes. Yeah.
From environment, genes is one thing, but secondly, the environment.
Environment and genes both. Yeah.
Environment.
Yeah.
And then that will lead to a certain conclusion because of the psychological perception, even at an infant level or a very early.
So what happens, suppose this trauma, so-called trauma that you are mentioning, Suppose the individual is having a trauma effect after the incident has occurred, like after 1 year of incident. So,
Hmm.
still getting nightmares.
Yeah.
Still getting. So let's try and understand the psychological operation here, psychological activities here. Here in the psyche, there is a recreation of the event which creates the fear. Are you able to understand this? We'll
Yeah.
get to that point, that why it happens. But the happening, let's try and understand the happening. When something is not happening right now, but I am having the same sensation what I had while it was happening. Try and understand this. So this is created in the mind, which is unreal. And that is causing me this particular sensation. So the source of that fear is created by the individual, whatsoever the reason, whatsoever the source of conditioning. It could be the individual herself, it could be the environment, it could be the gene. But the creation of the source is undeniable because it is not happening right now. I am considering a non-fact as a fact and bringing the sensation which I had when it was a fact.
Yeah.
Right? So the
when
framework is the same.
When it's at the level of nightmares, it's not coming from conscious awareness, it's coming from a subconscious awareness, you know, in the dreams or in whatever nightmare. But yes, what you're saying is that it's a recreation of the image, which is leading to re-trauma.
So who is doing this recreation? The individual, right? So the blame for this frustration cannot be given to that event. You know, the individual must take the responsibility of creating this for herself.
Right. But that's
one cannot play a victim card that I was a victim of that event. That is why this is happening. So I am nowhere responsible.
Okay, so that's, yeah, that I get. But if it's coming at the subconscious level, then it's not out of awareness. But yes, what action, what next thing you want to do, that the person has
the
to
framework works in a same way. The framework works in a same way.
But I'm saying another thing, it could be at a cellular level where the person is not even aware, has not reached P3.
And with that assumed cellular level, the individual will keep on having been in that loop forever. One will be able to come out of it when he understands or she understands that it is created by me. If I understand that it is imaginary, then there will not be any fear. That is what is the awareness. If I keep on blaming the cellular level and sway the responsibility, then it will remain forever. That's a fact. And how it remains, that we are going to understand here. So the
Sorry,
yes,
Maya.
Sorry, Kalyan.
Yeah.
No, I was just, when she said that, when you say that the person will not understand till it has understood what he has gone through. I'm just talking about this, that most people who have, men who have been abused, apparently go and abuse either boys or women, girls, little girls or young girls. And it's almost as if हमको हुआ अभी हम भी किसी को करेंगे. So so their action is also coming from that first sensation, and they are doing that action now.
Yes.
So
the concept of revenge. concept of revenge you are
Correct.
talking about. Yeah.
Correct. Concept of revenge, that somebody did it to me, I will do it to somebody else. As if I do it to somebody else, my pain will reduce.
Yeah, so that's a goal. That's a goal created in the mind, that this way my pain will be reduced, which is another image that we are feeding into our mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Prajakta ji, बताएं.
हाँ, मुझे क्या पूछना था, अभी ये डिस्कशन हो रहा था सबकॉन्शियस और कॉन्शियस, तो हम लोगों ने अभी स्टेटमेंट किया था एक, माइंड इज अननेचुरल, तो ये सबकॉन्शियस और कॉन्शियस हम लोग टर्म्स जो यूज करते हैं वो माइंड के लिए करते हैं ना, मतलब और दूसरी चीज के लिए भी करते हैं क्या?
माइंड के लिए क्या?
हेलो,
माइंड इज एन ऑपरेशन ऑफ न्यूरॉन. या बताइए, क्वेश्चन बताइए.
हाँ, तो मतलब अभी इतने सारे मतलब ये बोले जाते हैं कि माइंड में ही बहुत एनर्जी है, मतलब माइंड को कंट्रोल करेंगे तो सब कुछ हम लोग हासिल कर पाएंगे. तो ये मतलब अननेचुरल, मतलब कैसे हम लोग रिलेट करेंगे? माइंड अननेचुरल है या
अभी अगला जो
मतलब माइंड को इतना ज्यादा महत्व दिया जाता है?
नहीं, महत्व देने लायक है. माइंड जो है ये महत्व देने लायक है, क्योंकि इसका कंडीशनिंग अगर हम ना समझे तो फिर हम जिंदगी भर डिप्लीट होते रहेंगे और समझेंगे जब माइंड हमें चला रही है.
अच्छा.
तो इसको समझना तो बहुत
तो
जरूरी
मतलब
है.
सीक्वेंस क्या होना चाहिए सर? मतलब
सर
सीक्वेंस क्या होना
वहीं
चाहिए?
पर हम पहुंच रहे हैं. अभी वहीं पर पहुंच रहे हैं. अभी जो अगला ऑर्डर होगा वो है, तो अगर ये जो कॉन्फ्लिक्टिंग ऑर्डर ना समझे फिर तो पूरा समझ नहीं आएगा. हम नेचुरल ऑर्डर समझ लिए. नेचुरल ऑर्डर में क्या पेयर है ना, P1 और P2 इस तरह से कनेक्टेड है, रिवर्स नहीं है. P2 से P1 नहीं है नेचुरली. P1 से P2 होता है. यानी कि सेंसेशन आता है एक्शन से. ये ऑर्डर क्लियरली समझना पड़ेगा. जो नेचुरल ऑर्डर है ना, वो है सेंसेशन फ्रॉम एक्शन. इस पे ध्यान दीजिएगा. दिस इज वेरी क्रूशियल थिंग फॉर अंडरस्टैंडिंग द नेक्स्ट कॉन्फ्लिक्टिंग ऑर्डर. और P2 P3 के साथ किस तरह से कनेक्टेड है ना, परसेप्शन तभी आता है जब सेंसेशन आता है. नेचुरली बिना सेंसेशन का परसेप्शन आ नहीं सकता है नेचुरल. और एक्शन जो है, अगला वाला जो एक्शन आएगा वो परसेप्शन से आता है नेचुरल ऑर्डर में. वो कभी भी सेंसेशन से नहीं आ सकती, क्योंकि तीन चीजें हमें मिल गया ना. जे क्या क्या है? एक्शन, सेंसेशन एंड परसेप्शन. तो उसका सोर्स क्या है ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. हम लोग सोर्स की बातें कर रहे थे. एक्सपीरियंस का सोर्स क्या है? तो एक्शन का सोर्स सेंसेशन नहीं होता है. सेंसेशन का सोर्स एक्शन होता है. फिर परसेप्शन का सोर्स सेंसेशन होता है. एक्शन से परसेप्शन नहीं आता है. एक्शन से जो परसेप्शन आया उसको क्या कहते हैं हम लोग अगले इलस्ट्रेशन में समझेंगे. और जो परसेप्शन है वो कभी भी एक्शन से नहीं आएगा, ये हम कहें. अभी एक्शन जो है वो नया जो अभी एक्शन आएगा वो परसेप्शन से आएगा नेचुरली. ये क्लैरिटी थोड़ा लाइए इस पे. इस स्लाइड को ध्यान से समझिए. कुछ अनक्लियर चीज है तो फिर डिस्कस कर सकते हैं.
वो नहीं समझ में आ रहा
सर. तो फिर फर्स्ट एक्शन,
आपने बोला कि एक्शन,
फर्स्ट एक्शन किसको?
हाँ, फर्स्ट एक्शन वो डिफॉल्ट होगा, कहां से इमर्ज होगा पता नहीं. उसका कोई कंक्लूजन नहीं हो सकता. जो P1 शुरुआती वाला P1 P2 P3 P1 P2 P3 ये साइकिल चलता रहता है. जो पहला P1 है ये
एक्शन इज कमिंग फ्रॉम द सेंसेशन ओनली ना.
सेंसेशन ओनली, बट वो डिफाइन नहीं कर सकते जो यही पर्टिकुलर है, इसी तरह से होगा, क्योंकि यूनिक से होगा. हर एक मोमेंट में वो यूनिकली बहुत बदलते रहेगा.
ओके.
ये हम क्यों
ऑलवेज गोइंग टू बी फ्रॉम सेंसेशन ओनली. but the action is always going to be from the sensation only. Like action is the result of sensation. This is what I understood. I don't know if
Now,
I'm right.
no, now you are actually understanding it wrong, because it is proposing P1 to P2, P2 to P3, then P3 to P1. This particular slide is proposing that action is coming from the perception and sensation is coming from the action, not the reverse. Not the reverse.
Okay.
Just observe this, because this is confusing, but if you understand this, then the next things will be very easy to understand.
कल्याण सर, हम assume नहीं कर रहे ये बात कि assumption नहीं है कि sensation सिर्फ action से आता है. क्या इसका validation है कि sensation सिर्फ action से आता है? Sensation और उससे भी
action आता तो है मैम,
action
नेचुरली जो आना है ना, नेचुरली जो आना है वो एक्शन से ही आता है. सेंसेशन तो परसेप्शन से भी आ सकता है. यहाँ पर तीन चीज है हमारे पास. सेंसेशन बीच में है, P2 बीच में है, तो हो सकता है P2 P3 से भी आए, हो सकता है P1 से भी आए. ये पॉसिबिलिटी है, दो ही तो पॉसिबिलिटी है. नेचुरली जो देखा जाता है वो P1 से P2 आता है. नेचुरली P1 से P2 आता है, क्योंकि अगर आपका सेंस में कोई एक्सपीरियंस हुआ तो सेंसेशन को आप रोक नहीं पाओगे. सेंसेशन को होना ही है, ऑटोमेटिकली होगा. उसके लिए एनर्जी अलग से लगना नहीं है, अपने आप होगा, ऑटोमेटेड होगा. क्योंकि हम एनर्जी समझने के लिए बैठे हैं यहां पर, एनर्जी पे इंपैक्ट समझने के लिए बैठे हैं. अगर सेंसेशन परसेप्शन से आता है तो फिर क्या होता है, उसको समझने के लिए हमें कॉन्फ्लिक्टिंग सीक्वेंस समझना पड़ेगा, जो हम 3 बजे भी फिर से रिविजिट करेंगे. बट एक फर्स्ट ग्लिम्स इसको अभी मैं इंट्रोड्यूस कर देता हूं ताकि आप लोग इंट्रोस्पेक्ट कर पाओ. इसका नाम हम दो तरीके से देखेंगे. एक, नेगेटिव इमोशन कैसा काम करता है, फियर, एंगर, ये सब हम लोग नेगेटिव इमोशंस बोलते हैं. तो ये सब कैसे काम करता है इसको देखते हैं पहले. ना साइकोलॉजिकल परसेप्शन से ये स्टोरी स्टार्ट होता है. एक दिमाग के अंदर एक इमेज हम तैयार करते हैं, वही फायर का जिसका स्टोरी हम स्टार्ट किए थे. इट्स द सेम फायर दैट हैज created, that event has created somehow some image in the mind which proposes that fire is scary. Fire is scary. This is P3, the starting point. Now, because of that, there is a fear. Because fire is scary, that image is there and the individual has believed that image as true. And the fear starts. The moment the fear is sensed, that brings the perception which justifies that image. And that image, which was a smaller image, this way, was a small image, now that becomes a bigger image now. Because it's a rippling effect. You know, that small image with the justification of sensation, the moment the fear is sensed, there is a chemical change, and chemical is very real. So now confirmation, yes, it is true. Since there is a sensation, try and understand the depth of it. The sensation is coming from a source of imagination. And because it is sensation, it is seemingly true for the individual. For the world, for the truth, for the universe, it is not true. But for the individual, it is true. And because of that confidence that I am sensing it, it is my own experience, but it is a pseudo experience. It is not the actual experience. But even though when we start we start believing and not questioning it, that time this picture, the image gets bigger and bigger in the mind. And the fear becomes a lifelong continuation because of the justification that sensation is real. It is coming from the cellular side because it is sensed in the chemical. It is sensual. There is a lot of reason actually, because it is actual. The chemical change, it's a form. It's not imagination anymore. It was an imagination. It was an imagination, but now it is converted into my body level change. So it is no more an imagination. So how can I not believe it? That becomes a conviction, and it becomes stronger and stronger, stronger and stronger, and it becomes my negative emotion. Now the framework is same for the positive emotion also. I have a psychological perception. Somehow I got it that if I walk on the fire, then it would be an achievement. So I paint a picture of success with walking on the fire, whereas fire is painful if I touch. That's a fact. Now I am bringing a non-fact in my mind that if I walk on the fire, then that's an achievement. It's a story that I feed into myself, and I actually bring a sensation of achievement by walking on the fire. Bring a sensation of achievement by walking on the fire, suppressing the pain of fire, which is actual. Suppressing the pain of fire, which is actual. And with that, that particular conviction, which operates in the same framework as it operates in the case of fear, it operates in the same way that, yes, I made a goal and I achieved it. I made a goal and I achieved it. And I'll create an endurance within me, and perhaps I can become a motivational speaker, proposing that goal is very important, purpose of life is very important. That's how it becomes bigger and bigger, and this is a continuous toll on the energy. Now, with that, we'll conclude this morning session. We have a minute time left. Anyone quickly want to reflect something that can be possible? Otherwise, we'll meet at 3 sharp. Just be with it. P1, P2, P3, P1, P2, P3 was the natural order. Now P3, P2, P3, P2, P3, P2 that we discussed. Perception to sensation, perception to sensation, perception to sensation. We'll revisit that. See you at 3. Thank you.